Hi everybody, my name is Nicola. Welcome to Becoming Professionally Famous Online, which is all about, off the back of Unstoppable Entrepreneur Live, Season 3. We're in episode number 3 today, which is really awesome, and I'm thrilled to have you guys on here. So what I wanted to share with you today, hi Helen, good morning. What I really wanted to share with you guys today is around my opinions on why it really needs to be you who shows up online and why you can't outsource the majority of this stuff. Now, I suppose that one of the big fears, good morning Joe, one of the big fears that tends to come up when we're talking online, when we're talking about getting yourself out there online, there is a whole bunch of reasons and excuses as to why people can't do this. So it could be anything from I'm worried about what other people might think of me, to I don't know what to say, to how do I dress, what do I do. And I suppose like one of the really big underpinning thinking around all of this, or the underpinning fear, is around worrying about what other people are going to think, whether it's your peers or prospective clients or anything like that. Now, I guess what I wanted to talk with you about today is about how we can kind of put that over to the side, how we can use this to our advantage. But really the big thing that we simply must do is make the decision and the commitment that you've really got to be getting yourself out there, that you've got to be showing up. Now, I've got some stats just down on my little show notes down here around what we're looking at. So the online world is expanding and exploding. Yeah, like we can all agree on that. You look at any number of statistics, no matter where it is that you're finding them, and you will see that the volume of people who are monthly active or daily active users on these platforms is growing exponentially practically on a daily basis, I believe, but certainly on a monthly basis with the way that the reporting's going. So some stats that were relevant as at February 2018. On Facebook, there are 2.2 billion monthly active users. Now, I got some stats. It was around August last year, it was 1.6 billion. Now, guys, that is what, like 500 million. I think that's right, isn't it? Good morning, Jess. 500 million more people on active monthly users on Facebook alone. So if you have got rolling around somewhere in the back of your head, oh no, my audience isn't on Facebook, then you need to just let that shit go, because they are. They are on Facebook looking at their neighbors, looking at what the other kids' mums are doing. They are looking at what their children are doing. They're looking at what their parents are doing. They are looking at what their friends are doing. This is how people stay up to date. Oh, thank you, Jess. I'm channeling Gwen Stefani today. People are on there. Okay, so if you're sitting there thinking, no, like my people aren't on Facebook, you need to stop that, let that shit go, because they are. Now, I think I haven't got the stats in front of me for Instagram and LinkedIn. Oh, on Facebook, people are spending on average 40 minutes per day. So they are sitting there scrolling 40 minutes per day per person, right? So this is not as like every second day or once a week. They are spending on average 40 minutes per day active on that platform. Now, if that is not, number one, the best freaking reason to leverage this particular platform, then I don't know what is. And maybe you decide to not even use it, and you're practically shooting yourself in the foot, in my opinion. What the great thing about this is that when it comes time to be advertising and promoting and building audience, building platform, we can really target our audience incredibly well, which means that it's going to be a very well curated audience that we're able to speak with and that we're able to have a conversation with. Okay, so that's that. What has this got to do with being you? Because most people think, oh yeah, but Nicola, you know what? I'm really busy. I just want to get that shit outsourced. I want to have a virtual assistant do it, or have a social media manager or an agency do it. Okay, now I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit. And yes, that is okay for some of the things that you put up. If you need some skeleton posts going up, so if you want to put up, you go and hire a social media manager to go and post some lovely photos every day, like picture quotes and whatever, that's fine. You probably don't need to be doing that yourself. But we've got this mass group of people who are, like, not the social media managers, I mean, we're talking about the Facebook audience. We've got a massive group of people who are, these days, they are incredibly well versed in social media. We're a lot more socially intelligent these days, right? Which means to me that we can sniff out bullshit from a freaking mile away. Now, I know that that's not just me. I mean, I'm looking for it all the time, but I'm sure that you can see it as well. There are possibly people that you've been following that you're like, yeah, nah, that's not me, that's not for me, they're not the right fit for me. You can kind of sense it. It's like your spidey senses go tingly, and you just know, and this often happens at a really unconscious level. So people can smell bullshit a mile away. So what does that mean for you? Well, it means that if you are simply putting out pre-created content, pre-created posts, or you've got someone else doing that stuff for you, then it's kind of, it's like you're not showing up as being you, right? So what people want to see is they want to see real. Because the other thing that I see all the time happening in social media and marketing in general, actually, it's like the Real Housewives of social media, right? You've got people who are showing up with their beautifully photoshopped images of their lovely life and their lovely house and this, that, and the other. And it's a really very one-dimensional, pretty picture. Now, let's level with each other, because I think we know each other well enough by now to know that we can have a real, open and honest conversation. That is not the reality of life for most people. Some people are totally blissed out all day, every day, and nothing impacts them at all. And, you know, I think that that's a very, very small number, very small volume in the population. What I know is that there are most days where I have to still battle with my own self-talk. So it might be around that I'm not good enough. It's like, who's going to listen? What if nobody shows up? You know, all of this kind of stuff still rattles around in my head. And I've been doing this for freaking ages. Like, I've been doing this for 8 years, right? So I know that stuff comes up. I know that I post photos of us going out on our morning walks every day, but some days I'll take that photo and then the next minute I turn around and one of my kids is throwing a tantrum, and I'll often usually take a photo of that, and some days I post them, some days I don't. Because the reality is that it's not all perfection, and it's freaking hard work. There is hustle, there is, you know, life, there's reality, there's adulting. Like, I freaking hate cooking dinner. I talk about that pretty openly. So, you know, there's all of this stuff. So what we're looking for on social media is you showing up and being you sharing your stories. And that's the stuff that you can't outsource, right, guys? You can't outsource you turning up on video and sharing insights into you. We want real. And we're becoming so much better at sniffing out the people that are not giving us the reality of what's really going on. So I really want you to think about, all right, well, how can I be the voice of reason? How can I, like John Farnham's Age of Reason came into my head. That's random, showing my age. You know, what can you do to dispel some of the myths that are really, you know, terribly propagated by your industry and by what it is that you do? Good morning, Ainsley from Cairns. Hey, awesome to see you. Hope the retreat's going fabulously. You know, what can you talk about in your social media platforms about why you're passionate about what you're passionate about? And it's not just about the thing that you do. All right, it's not just about, like in Ainsley's case, it's not just about stretching. It's not just, in Helen's case, it's not just about energy and balance. You know, there's all of this stuff that has led you to be where you are right now that can inspire and motivate and educate and help people to see that, you know what, this thing called life is actually oh, thank you, Ainsley. She said I look like Gwen Stefani. I just said to Jess earlier that I'm channeling her today, so, oh, you've made my day. You know, that we want to show people that it's a journey, right? And now I know that so many people hate that whole journey word. I don't really particularly like it, but I can tell you that in 2010, I was petrified of getting on camera. I was worried about having the words to say, the content I was going to share. Good morning, Margaret from Cairns, also on retreat. Yay! You know, what kinds of things have you gone through? For me, it was, one of my biggest battles has always been around worrying what other people think of me, worrying about what their opinion is of me. And it's taken a lot of work, a lot of self-discovery, and a lot of actually just going, freaking stop it, Nicola, and just get out there and share your message and talk about what you're passionate about. And that's really one of the big drivers for me, because if I'm not doing that, how can I expect you guys to do it? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And it would be wrong, and it would be inauthentic, and it would be just like another freaking snake oil salesman. Like, not everybody, but like a lot of other people in the marketing space that I know are out there. So it really needs to be you. And I think one of the other really big things, oh, thanks for the love. Oh, love the interactions. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, yeah, so I think that one of the big things as well that I'd really encourage you guys to do is, it's a bit like ripping off the Band-Aid, okay? You've really just got to rip off that Band-Aid. Hi, Tamara. And start sharing your stuff. And you're exactly right. It is not your business what anybody else thinks of you. I say that all the time. I'm writing chapter 2 in my book right now, and this is what I'm talking about. So I'm a little soapboxy today. So it is not anyone else's business it's not your business what anyone else thinks about you. Because everyone has an opinion, and some people like red, some people like purple, some people like black and white, some people don't like freaking anything, and we can't please everybody, and we certainly can't please everybody all the time. So the things that I want you to be sharing are your insights, your learnings, your education, your experience, and how that has led you to be where you are now. And of course, some things that people can do in order to progress along that journey. I guess the other thing that I really wanted to share with you guys today is what happens as a result of you actually doing this. So one of the things that happens, right? So if we've got our stages that we move up through, we've got, at the moment, some of you are invisible. Some of you don't have an online presence, whether it's on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever, like I don't really care, like websites, whatever. Some of you will be feeling invisible. Let me know if this feels like you. So some of you are invisible, feeling invisible. You're not invisible because you're a human and you have like a flesh suit, but you might be feeling invisible online. So the first thing is to go, all right, well, I'm actually going to start getting myself out there, and I'm going to start doing something. And this is where you can hire someone. I used to pay my daughter to create some picture quotes for me, and then I just go post them and stuff like that. So you could outsource some of that skeleton content that goes on your social media profiles, but you can't stop there, right? Because that's what everybody else is doing. And the whole point of you putting yourself out here is in order for you to be able to connect with your audience. Okay, so the audience is paramount. It's always the audience that you have in mind when you're putting your stuff out there. Like, that's not negotiable. It's for the audience. Anything that you do is for the audience. So get the skeleton stuff, but you're not going to stand out if you just kind of like stop there. I mean, at this point, what we're starting to do is we've got to go, all right, well, what do we need to do to get up to that next level? And that's really around where you then ascend to adding more value, having more impact, and then we get to that top rung, which is around really creating profits. So you're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to stand out if you're vanilla and beige and boring and the same as everybody else. Okay, it's just not going to happen. So think about the audience. What are the big problems that you're solving? What are the big stumbling blocks? Like we've talked today that some of the big stumbling blocks to people putting themselves out there, and one of the main ones I believe is actually around fear and lack of confidence, which comes back to not really knowing exactly what to say, how to structure it in order to start being seen. And then the next thing is like, well, you know, what is everybody going to think about me? So I trust that we've kind of dispelled some of those myths and put that to bed. Now, the other thing that might happen, and I just want to put this out there because I want you to know, you might generate some negative feedback. You might generate some comments where people are like, you know what, I don't agree with you, and it's not happening. Or they might say, well, I think you're full of shit. Or maybe they don't like you. Or maybe they don't like your hair. Or maybe they don't like your nose. Or maybe they don't like the way that you've got your camera set up. Or maybe they don't like the fact that you're not a professional speaker. You know, honestly, this is what we need to do to those people. And secondly, the thing that we do, that I want you to do that internally, don't go all out there and maybe do that to them. But what I would be embracing is going, all right, so that's their opinion. Awesome. Thank you for letting me know that you disagree with me. I'm actually really grateful that you've shared your opinion. And I'd encourage you guys, like if you don't agree with me, let me know. Like share your opinion. That's awesome. Because what it does, if you let it, two things can happen. One thing is like it can knock you off your rocker and you can go and spiral into self-doubt, self-loathing and be all like, oh, I knew that this was going to happen and like bloody Nicola, she told me to go do this and you're rah, 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 rah. You know what? I've had a lot of negativity. I've had a lot of haters. I've had people send me the death threats because I post videos and ads and, you know, it's extraordinary the stuff that we've worked through over the years. That might happen. It's also highly unlikely these days because as I started with right at the start, people are social savvy. They know what advertising is. They know what you're doing. Even if it's not at a conscious level, they know unconsciously what you're doing, right? So the negativity can happen over here. Now, the other thing that you can do is you can actually use this as a way of starting a conversation and really being able to use this as a way of describing and having a conversation around why you think the way you do, why you believe what you do, why you're an advocate for your way of doing things, which I think is really super important. Now, this takes a little bit of bravery and it takes a little bit of courage and it needs you to kind of step back a little bit and be like, okay, I'm not going to take this personally because what this person thinks isn't actually even about me. Their opinion's their opinion based on their experience, their knowledge, the crap that they've had to work through, the wins that they've had. Like that's all based on their opinion, and that is awesome because, you know, thank God that we're not all the same out here in the world. So that's based on that. But how can we have a conversation and how can you use that as a platform to connect with your audience? So for example, if somebody said to me, oh look, Nicola, I think we can outsource everything and what you're saying is a bunch of shit and I've made a whole lot of money doing that. You know, awesome, great, that's brilliant. So I would talk about why I think the way that I do and what I've experienced, what my clients have experienced and why I've come to form those beliefs, but not in like an attacky, angry way. It's just about having a conversation and at the end of it, we might agree to disagree, which is awesome. I'm happy with that. Like, I don't want everybody to always agree with everything that I'm saying or everything that I'm doing because that would be really freaking boring and we'd never grow. We'd never grow as individuals, as business owners, as brands and things like that. So it's important, I believe, for you to engage in that kind of conversation. Does that make sense, guys? Awesome. Excellent. Brilliant. So I think we're sold on the why it needs to be you. The only other thing that I wanted to raise up with you guys today is that perfectionism is a myth. All right? And life would be really freaking boring if everyone was the same. So the last little thing that I'll share with you around that, my family, so I have 3 children and my husband, and what we love, my husband doesn't really love it, but he'll tolerate it. We really love watching The Voice. So at the moment, The Voice Australia is on, they've got the blinds, and we're loving it. And what I love about the process that these people go through is that they show up and they kind of leave their whole heart on the stage. Some of them, not all of them, but a lot of them are just leaving their whole entire heart out there on the stage. They are leveraging the stuff that they know. They're finding the emotion in the song. They're really connecting with what's important to them in the lyrics, and they're trying to convey that on stage. Now, what I like about this is that we've got 4 industry leaders, right? Who we've got Boy George, we've got Joe, we've got Delta and Kelly. So what happens is some of the chairs, I don't know if you guys are familiar with The Voice, I love it. I also love The Voice US. So some of those chairs will turn around depending on what they're hearing in The Voice, right? What they're hearing with that performance, what's going on stage. Most of the judges don't turn around all at the same time because they're all hearing different things. They're all looking for different things. They've all got different opinions around what works and what doesn't. So think about it. We don't want to appeal to all 4 of those judges. Like, if that's your audience, we just need to appeal to the ones who are ready to hear your story, who are ready to hear your voice. And trying to make it perfect doesn't mean that you're going to appeal to everybody anyway. So your job, your sole job, your entire job is to turn up and to do the best damn performance online that you can do on a daily basis. And also remember that everybody's opinion of what is perfect is different. For the same reason, different people like different types of coffee. I hate espressos, like the short blacks, hate them. Some people like teas, some people don't like teas, some people like hot water and lemon. Not everybody has the same taste. So stop trying to appeal to everybody and just do your best. Show up, share your message, and do your best. So that is our episode number 3 today for UE Live. What I would love to hear from you guys before we go, it's a bunch of you who are on live, let me know what has been the best, most awesome thing that you've had from this live today. Please type it in and let me know. And one of the reasons that I'm asking you for this is because I, for one, really love external validation. We've talked about this before. But most importantly, like, take that part out. I just really love to know that this is making sense and that this is helpful, because I know I say this a lot. If you listen to anything else, if you're brand new to the show, welcome. Really, really lovely to have you on board today. Or if you're watching the replay, really lovely to have you on. The reason that I do this is for you guys, because I know how hard it can be for you to take that leap. I know that sometimes you've got this kind of like build up of adrenaline, and it's just like, I know I've got to get myself out there, but I don't know how. So I really hope that this kind of gives you that little push, that bit of motivation for you to be able to get out there. Because let's face it, guys, in a world that is filled with copycats and clones, your people, your audience really need to hear from you, being the truth teller, the person that shines the light on the shit that's in the industry, on the great stuff that's in the industry, and so that they can really either connect with you and be like, you know what, I'm so glad I found you, I'm so incredibly grateful, or for them to go, you know what, I'm really glad I found you and I'm so incredibly grateful. I just know that you're not the right fit for me. Now, they won't always convey that with their voices, and that's fine. Sometimes it happens on an unconscious level, and sometimes it happens right in front. But either way, just I hope that that's giving you that little bit of a push. All right, let me know. Oh, thank you, Tamara. It's confirmation that I'm on the right track, feeling inspired to get moving on the goals that I have. Awesome. I'm relieved to know. Oh, my eyeballs aren't working. Relieved to know it's not that I'm on my own in feeling unsure, that it's just part of the process. Yeah, totally. Great point. You know, one of the, like, this is all new ground for the majority of you. You know, it's all brand new stuff. And what that means, if you think about it purely from a scientific perspective, if this is your brain and your neural pathways have just been going from here to here and here to here and here to here, what I'm getting you to do is think differently and make new neural pathways. Do new things, right? So I guess one of the big things that for you guys to remember is that this is like going and doing a new gym class when you've never ever gone before, and you're like, oh my God, holy shit, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna turn up, I'm gonna look like an idiot because this is my shit, right? This is what I would say if I was going to a new gym class. I'm gonna look like an idiot. Everybody else has been there before me and they're all going to know all of the things, and I'm going to be right there just going like, no, 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 looking like an uncoordinated moron. Not that I'm hung up on any of that at all. And it usually, whenever I've gone to a new gym class, it's always taken probably a few classes in for me to feel like, okay, like now I'm not consciously thinking about all of the things that are going on, and I'm a lot more relaxed about it. So when it comes to you putting yourself out there, doing lives, doing posts, sharing your stuff, you're probably going to feel like that thing to start with because it doesn't feel natural. It's not relaxed. You're using all of your brain to process and think about what it is that you're doing. So it's with practice that it becomes easier. It's with practice that you grow in confidence. And then, you know, you'll just start to see that you get into that slipstream so much faster when you get out of your own way. Awesome. I'm glad that's working for you. Marie, you share the whole picture, the good and the not so good. Yeah, thank you. I think that's, I'm really pleased and incredibly grateful to you for sharing that. And I'm really pleased that that's what you see and that's what you're hearing, because it is not all sunshine and lollipops and roses and stuff like that. And I think at the moment, what's really awesome for me at this point in time, like for the last couple of months, I'm just on fire. You know, I feel like I'm creating more content. I'm feeling really good. I'm also feeling really healthy. I'm back roller skating, and that has a massive impact on just so many things. Roller derby for the win. You know, there's just so many things are really in flow. But then I also, and I know that this is why right now it's about making hay while the sun's shining. Leverage off this momentum that I'm building, leverage off the motivation, leverage off the fact that, you know, you guys are showing up live and using that to really kind of fuel and stoke my fire. Because here's what I know after doing this for a really freaking long time, is that this feeling that I've got going on right now is not likely to last. It might go for another month or another 3 months or another 6 months, but I know that there will be a dip, because that's like just the law of all the things. There's usually a bit of a dip. And so if I can make hay while the sun's shining, then I can kind of ride that out a little bit more and come back up, right? So those dips can be really big. Like last year I shared with you guys, like last year was just shit. It was just really not awesome. For a lot of different reasons, some of which I shared with you, and I'm not going to go into it all today. But yeah, it's really important. Marie, thank you for raising that, and it really reiterates what I was saying before, that it's all about being real, about showing up, sharing your stuff, and not sugarcoating and bullshitting your way through when you're not having a really awesome time of it. Okay, but not doing that, not sharing that stuff while you're wallowing in it, and it's really terrible either, right? And then share the learnings as a result of going through what you've been through. Helen, I'm definitely more confident when I'm prepared and organized for the Facebook Lives, and of course get a better response. Yeah, totally. So I completely agree. I mean, like I said, like I've got, being prepared is huge. And this is where I was saying earlier in this particular episode, like it's really important for you to know your audience and you know the problems that you're solving and you're talking about. So I know a big question for people in this one that I've addressed is, why can't I just outsource it all? Why do I have to show up live, whether it's by texts or whether it's via images or whether it's via like video lives? Why does it have to be me? Because that would be a heck of a lot freaking easier, don't you think? Just get like your stand-in double or your stunt double to like go and do all the stuff. That would make your life so much easier so that you can just go and do what you do. But it's not going to help showcase you. So the way that you can best be prepared is to remember who you're talking to. So I've got my show notes on the floor in front of me. I've got other different bits of inspiration that I've been thinking about. Like I've said to you guys, I'm writing a book at the moment, so I'm using a lot of that to fuel some of this content for what we're going through as well. All right. So thank you for sharing with me today your biggest insights. As we're going on, I'd love for you to share those. If you're listening to the replay, let me know. I'm just super honored and I'm really grateful to you guys. I know that you're busy. I know that you've got a lot of stuff on. And I'm really pleased and deeply honored and touched that you create the time and the space to come out and hang out with me. And I hope that this has been helpful. All right, my name's Nicola. I'll see you next week for episode number 4, where we are going to be talking about where to show up online. Okay, so today we're talking about it's got to be you, it's got to be you, it's got to be you. Next week, we're talking about where we're going to be doing that. So the different platforms, we're looking at knowing what to say, and Helen's actually brought up that piece about being prepared and organized. I'm going to share some stuff with you next week about how I go through doing that and what platforms I use and how I kind of treat the different platforms, and so that you can embody that and use that too. So have an amazing Tuesday. If you've got questions, let me know. We've got Q&A Wednesday tomorrow on the Coffee Run Live, which goes live at 9. I look forward to hanging out with you then. Either way, have an amazing day. Get yourselves out there and go kick some major ass. See you later. Bye.